Right friends, we are going to discuss questions and answers and little more information. For 4th week, we have already discussed various aspects in lecture part, and remaining aspects we are going to discuss in question and answer format. Please listen carefully, and each session contains 40 questions. In addition to the answers, I am going to give little bit more information as usual, right? Let us look at the first question. Sukhna Lake was reopened after a month of its closure due to bird flu scare. Because of bird flu, avian flu, otherwise avian influenza, because some geese died in Sukhna Lake. I would like to tell you a few words on Sukhna Lake. Sukhna Lake is basically formed in Chandigarh area with the water flowing from the Shivalik hills. A stream flows from Shivalik hills and water comes to this lake, and Chandigarh city, remember, it is the planned city designed by Le Corbusier. So in that particular city, this Sukhna Lake was closed for a month because of the bird flu scare. So here the right answer for this is Chandigarh. Sukhna Lake is in Chandigarh, the beautiful city designed by Le Corbusier. Okay, let us move on to the next question. Tamiflu is used to treat. Tamiflu is the capsule. Tamiflu is the capsule which is used to treat H1N1 virus. H1N1 means people know very well that the other name for it is swine flu. So to treat swine flu, Tamiflu is used. I think I would like to tell you one more thing. In recent times, the worst affected states for swine flu are Telangana, Rajasthan, Delhi and adjoining Haryana. These states are worst affected in recent times. Several persons lost their lives. So swine flu is the disease which primarily affects lungs. So Tamiflu is the medicine used to treat swine flu, right? Look at the next question. Over 7 lakh migratory birds of different species visit Chilka Lake during the monsoon season every year. Every year 7 lakh migratory birds far away from northern Himalayan region, far away from Mongolia, far away from Russia, from these places, traveling almost 10,000 kilometers, these birds come to Chilka Lake. Chilka Lake is formed at the mouth of the Daya river. Please remember, Chilka Lake is formed at the mouth of the Daya river, and it is in Khurda district, Ganjam districts of Odisha. So here the answer is Chilka Lake is in Odisha. Right? Let us look at the next question. Education Minister of so-and-so state, Ram Bilas Sharma, stated that he will introduce Bhagavad Gita in the school curriculum. It created a lot of ripples among the political diaspora. That means it led to the intense discussion about the religions and about the secularism of the country. And here the answer is Ram Bilas Sharma is the Education Minister of Haryana. He stated that Bhagavad Gita will be introduced in schools. Right? So look at the next question. Azizpur in Muzaffarpur district is in the news. This is in Bihar. Azizpur village in Muzaffarpur district of Bihar. There religious disturbances took place and 4 people killed in religious disturbances between 2 religions. And when the religious disturbances took place, you are looking at a woman here. Her name is Shail Devi, and she protected almost 20 members of one particular community by giving shelter in her house. That Shail Devi, she protected 20 members from one particular community by giving shelter in her house. Please remember, the answer for this question is Azizpur in Muzaffarpur district is in Bihar. Let us move on to the next question. 185th Maghotsav of Sadharan Brahmo Samaj was held recently in. The answer is Kolkata. I would like to tell you few more words. What is Brahmo Samaj? Brahmo Samaj was started by Raja Ram Mohan Rai in the year 1830, 23rd of January. In the year 1830, Brahmo Samaj was started, and every year this 11th day of Magha as per the Bengali calendar, this birth anniversary will be celebrated, and 185th Maghotsav of Sadharan Brahmo Samaj was recently celebrated at Kolkata. So the right answer is Kolkata. Remember, Brahmo Samaj was started by Raja Ram Mohan Rai in the year 1830. Right? Look at the next question. Which of the following is a fashion portal? Nowadays, e-commerce is going everywhere, and e-commerce is taking roots in each and every sections of this market. And here Jabong.com is the fashion portal in e-commerce. So Jabong and Myntra are fashion portals. Redbus is for bus tickets. Urban Ladder is for furniture. Flipkart started off initially with books, and they are now into many other streams like electronic gadgets, clothes and everything. So remember, Jabong.com is the answer for this question, and it is a fashion portal, right? Look at the next one. Which of the following is the smartphone maker of China? Of the given answers here, you see Xiaomi is the smartphone maker of China, Samsung is South Korea, Nokia is now owned by American Microsoft, and HTC is Taiwan based. Remember, Samsung is South Korea based, Nokia is now US based. Initially it was Finland origin, but recently it was purchased by Microsoft, and HTC is Taiwanese base. Right? Look at the next question. CCI is examining approximately 15,000 crore merger deal between Kotak Mahindra and ING Vysya banks. I would like to tell you, there is a proposed merger. This ING Vysya bank is going to be merged with Kotak Mahindra bank. ING Vysya is going to be merged with Kotak Mahindra bank. The total expected value of the entity is 15,000 crore rupees. This will be examined by CCI, because when two mammoth organizations merges, it is to be made sure that there is no competition is not distorted. I would like to tell you one thing. If Vodafone and Airtel merges today, what will happen? Ultimately, the call rates may increase. That is not a fair merger. With some ulterior motive they may merge, if at all it happens. So, to look into these aspects, this Competition Commission of India looks into the aspects whether the mergers or acquisitions are fair or not. Right? So, this 15,000 crore merger between Kotak Mahindra Bank and ING Vysya Bank will be examined whether it is a fair deal or not. The organization which looks into these aspects is Competition Commission of India, which was established by Government of India as per Competition Act of 2002. Right? This Competition Commission of India came into existence in 2003 based on the Competition Act of 2002. It looks into the aspect whether merger or acquisition is fair or not. Right? Look at the next question. Muthoot Finance is appointed as the business correspondent of. I would like to tell you few things. Recently, RBI gave approval for NBFCs. NBFCs is nothing but non-banking financial companies. Recently, Reserve Bank of India gave approval for NBFCs to act as business correspondents. Based on this approval, recently S Bank appointed Muthoot Finance as business correspondent. Because you see, Muthoot Finance is spread over the hook and nook of the country, which has around 4,000 branches, whereas S Bank has hardly 600 branches. So, by appointing Muthoot Finance as business correspondent, S Bank can get advantage to sell its banking products across the country. Right? So, remember, Muthoot Finance became the first business correspondent after the permission is given by RBI for NBFCs to act as business correspondents, and S Bank appointed Muthoot Finance. So, the answer for this question is S Bank, and let us move on to the next question. Name the bank which launched the transfer of money through Twitter. Through Twitter account, for the first time in this country, you can transfer money. ICICI Bank made it possible, and each time remember 5,000 is the maximum limit, and per day it is 10,000. Right? Each time you can transfer 5,000 and per day it is 10,000, not more than 10,000 rupees. So the answer for this is ICICI Bank, which launched the transfer of money through Twitter for the first time in this country. Having known this answer, let us look at the next question. As per the Oxfam report, right? Oxfam report, this combined wealth of top 80 people. Who tops the Forbes list is combined wealth of top 80 people. The combined wealth of top 80 people in the world is $1.9 trillion. $1.9 trillion is equivalent to the entire GDP of India. So, 80 richest persons in the world have equivalent property of GDP of India. You can easily understand by this sentence. The GDP of India is roughly $2 trillion. So, these 80 rich people across the world hold $1.9 trillion worth of properties. Right? Look at the other sentence. 85 richest people own the wealth of the bottom 3.5 billion people. The properties owned by the poorest 350 crore people. The properties owned by poorest 350 crore people is equal to the total property of the top 85 people. That means the report of Oxfam pinpoints there is growing disparity between rich and the poor. Rich and the poor gap is growing day by day because of capitalistic society. That is the main theme of this Oxfam report. Right? Look at the next question. Banks should notify the base rate or minimum lending rate at least once in recent RBI instructions. Banks should notify base rate or minimum lending rate once in 3 months. Base rate is the rate below which banks should not grant loans to any customer except the exempted classes. Base rate is the rate below which banks should not grant loans except exempted categories. Base rate is to be advertised in a transparent way, and recent instructions of RBI says base rate is to be revised and notified transparent way every 3 months. Right? Look at the next question. IFC. IFC is the International Finance Corporation of World Bank Group. Second is GIC. Please don't confuse it with General Insurance Corporation. This GIC is the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Singapore. This is the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Singapore. So, International Finance Corporation and the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Singapore will invest 1,500 crores in Bandhan Financial Services. Remember, Bandhan has got license to start Universal Bank in India along with IDFC. So, Bandhan is going to start their operations by October 2015. So, in Bandhan, IFC and GIC are going to invest 1,500 crore rupees. Right? The next one, Operation Enduring Freedom. Operation Enduring Freedom is the name given to the military operations of US and NATO forces in Afghanistan. US and NATO forces came to Afghanistan to fight Taliban in the year 2001. All of you very well know that after the attack of World Trade Center in New York, USA and NATO forces entered Afghanistan to fight Taliban, and they were there for 13 years and left last December. So, the name given Operation Enduring Freedom is for the forces of NATO and USA in Afghanistan. Right? Let us move on to the next question. 9 June No, oh June, who met the Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently, is the Chief Executive Officer of POSCO Steel. POSCO Steel is trying to establish a steel factory near Bhubaneswar in Odisha for the past 6-7 years, but they were into some problems of land acquisition in that state, right? And now its CEO, No Oh June, met the Prime Minister of the country. And remember, the CEO of Amazon is Jeff Bezos and CEO of Microsoft is Satya Nadella. Please don't forget these names, right? So look at the next question. Outsourcing firm Capgemini is headquartered in. Capgemini is the outsourcing firm for consulting and technology outsourcing, and its headquarters is in Paris, France. Remember, Capgemini is headquartered in Paris, France, right? Look at the next question. MD and CEO of Axis Bank. Every one of you know that Shikha Sharma is the MD and CEO of Axis Bank, and she got extension of another 3 years from June 1, 2015. She has been the MD and CEO of Axis Bank for the past 6 years. Initially, she was appointed for 3 years, subsequently extended by another 3 years, and now it is being extended by another 3 years. So, Axis Bank MD and CEO Shikha Sharma got extension for 3 more years from June 1, 2015. So, let us look at the next question. Approximately 25 to 30% of basmati rice exports from our country. Predominant exports of basmati rice. You can see almost total exports last year 30,000 crore rupees, and out of 30,000, 10,000 crores worth exports went to Iran. So, Iran is the prime importer of basmati rice from India, right? Look at the next question. Statutory body advising the government on the pricing policy for major farm producers is with regard to the minimum support price for various crops like wheat, paddy, sugarcane. There is a body which recommends to Government of India. Subsequently, Government of India will take decision. The body which recommends the minimum support price is nothing but Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, or otherwise CACP. Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP, recommends minimum support price to government, and subsequently government takes a decision on that. Look at the other ways, the other pictures. PFRDA, this is Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority, which looks into pension products. So, it is the regulator for pension products. SEBI is the regulator for capital markets. IRDA is the regulator for insurance sector. So, there is one regulator for each and every financial market, right? Look at the next question. El Nino primarily results due to the warming of South Pacific Ocean. Because of the warming of the sea, because of the warming of the ocean, warming of the waters by 0.5 to 1 degree centigrade, the monsoon will be affected, and one place there will be thunderstorm and the other place there will not be any rain. So, drought conditions will prevail at one place, and one place there will be heavy rain. So, because of El Nino is nothing but warming of water in Pacific Ocean, South Pacific basically. Because of this, what happens is there will be heavy rain in one place, and the other place there will be drought situation. So, El Nino is the phenomena which occurs in the southern part of the Pacific Ocean, right? Look at the next question. Name the state which accounts for almost 2/3 of the coffee production in the country. That is Karnataka, right? Kodagu district, Chikmagalur district. These two districts account for maximum coffee production in Karnataka. Almost 60 to 70% of coffee production in this country comes from Karnataka, and the exports of coffee takes place from Mangalore port in Karnataka. And at the same time, Arabica and Robusta are the two main varieties of coffee crop. Please remember, Arabica and Robusta are the two varieties of coffee crop, right? Look at the next question. India will have discussion with the Dash to sort out the matter with regard to supply of 126 Rafale Fighter Jets. Discussions are going on for several years, I can say. Here the final outcome is expected shortly, and the total cost of the project is $22 billion, and the country is none other than France. I would like to tell you, as far as defense equipment and defense machinery or fighter aircrafts or fighter jets are concerned, traditionally we are importing this from Russia, and nowadays Israel, France, USA, we are getting this tanks, jets, all these things from these countries also. So the monopoly of Russia as far as our defense imports are concerned is being lost nowadays. It is giving way to other countries like France, Israel and America, right? So here the answer is France, right? Look at the next question. Rupees 6,600 crore major transshipment hub. Transshipment hub Vysya port will come up in Vysya port is being planned in Kerala, right? Arabian Sea. This port will be for transshipment purposes, right? So this Vysya port is in Kerala. Please remember, it is in Kerala near Thiruvananthapuram, right? The next one, the first round the world flight of the only solar powered aircraft. Solar powered aircraft. If this comes true, probably this is the best news for anyone who would like to fly, because the cost will be less, environmental friendly, and the first aircraft, solar powered aircraft, will start from Abu Dhabi on experimental basis. Remember, this will start from Abu Dhabi. Look at the next question. Name the country whose finances are in dire straits with a debt amounting to $371 billion. Here, the country's debt is 175% of its GDP. GDP is almost 200 billion, whereas the debt is $371 billion, and that country is Greece. Capital is Athens, currency is Euro, and in the recent elections, Syriza party won, and now there are several problems in Greece. There is a doubt whether Greece will remain in Eurozone. People are talking about its exit, which is known as Grexit. So we will discuss in the next session what is Grexit, right? So here the answer is Greece. Greece economy is not in good condition because of its high debt, right? Look at the next question. Periyar Tiger Reserve spread over 925 square kilometers backed the recent biannual National Tiger Conservation Authority Award for conservation of the animals. Recently, Periyar Tiger Reserve got the NTCA award. Periyar Tiger Reserve is spread over 925 square kilometers, and this tiger reserve is situated in God's own country, that is Kerala, right? So Periyar Tiger Reserve is in Kerala, right? Let us move on to the next question. 10th Joint Economic and Trade Committee meeting of India-UK was recently held at London, right? 10th Joint Economic and Trade Committee meeting of India-UK was recently held at London, right? This question, the chairman of the NDMA is, what is NDMA? NDMA is National Disaster Management Authority. National Disaster Management Authority was formed after the NDMA Act was passed in the year 2005, right? As per the National Disaster Management Act of 2005, NDMA was formed, and this is basically to ensure disaster preparedness in the country, because if any disaster happens like earthquake or floods or cyclones, to prevent colossal damage, this National Disaster Management Authority was created, and the chairman for this NDMA is none other than the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister is the chairman for NDMA, and let us look at the next question. Delhi High Court recently ordered the central government to release foreign contribution. We have already discussed in the previous lectures. Greenpeace is the organization which fights the environmental issues in our country, and most of the funding is from foreign land. Recently, central government, Ministry of Home Affairs banned this organization's accounts That means these organizations' accounts were blocked by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and subsequently they approached Delhi High Court, and Delhi High Court gave its ruling that let the funds be released to that organization. You very well remember that last week we discussed about Priya Pillai, who was not allowed to address the parliamentary group in London, and she addressed it through Skype. Right? These organizations work within our country by taking funds from foreign countries, and the basic problem here is they fight for environmental issues, but country needs development and environment. There should be a delicate balance between these two. That's why sometimes government feels that these organizations are moving beyond their limits, so that's why they impose restrictions on these organizations, right? Look at the next question. By the end of December 31, 2014, the installed solar capacity in the country, solar capacity is the clean energy. Very well know that solar power in Gujarat especially, solar power is being produced over the canal tops. Now, by December 31, 2014, the installed solar capacity crossed 3 gigawatts. 3 gigawatt means 3000 megawatts. So, in our country, installed power crossed 3000 megawatt. Remember, our new government kept the target of 100 gigawatt by 2022. 100 gigawatt means 1 lakh megawatt. So, our target is 100 gigawatt by 2022. We just crossed 3 gigawatt by December 31, 2014. Right? Look at the next question. Twitter recently acquired Bangalore-based mobile marketing startup Zipdial. Twitter recently acquired Bangalore-based mobile marketing startup Zipdial. Please remember it is Zipdial. Move on to the next question. Mahindra Two-Wheelers Limited. Mahindra and Mahindra, you are familiar with this manufacturing facility. Mahindra Two-Wheelers Limited recently acquired Peugeot Motorcycles. Peugeot belongs to France. The right answer for this question is France. Mahindra Two-Wheelers recently acquired Peugeot Motorcycles. So, Peugeot belongs to France. Right? Look at the next question. Normally, the first Grand Slam tennis tournament takes place in Australia. What is Grand Slam tennis tournament? 4 tennis tournaments which are held throughout the year. That means in the month of January, Australian Open will be held. In the months of May, June, French Open will be held. In the months of June, July, Wimbledon will be held. And in the months of September, October, US Open will be held. These 4 tournaments put together are called Grand Slam tennis tournament. Out of the 4 tournaments, Wimbledon is the oldest, which started in 1877. Australian Open is the youngest, which started in 1905. So, remember these 4 put together are called Grand Slam tennis tournament. Grand Slam tennis tournament. Right? Look at the next question. ISIS, which is ruling certain parts of Iraq and Syria, took 2 Japanese citizens as hostage and demanded $200 million as ransom. They demanded $200 million as ransom because of the reason. Recently, Japan announced $200 million as aid to the countries who are fighting against the ISIS. Recently, Japan announced aid of $200 million to the countries who are fighting against ISIS. In this connection, as a retaliatory step, ISIS took 2 Japanese citizens as hostage and they demanded $200 million as ransom to release these 2 hostages. Right? Here the answer is the 2 citizens belong to Japan. So, the answer is Japan. Let us look at the next question. There are agitations, protests, and the nationwide Bandh was also called by the opposition parties in the process of preparing the new constitution. The Constituent Assembly could not come to the conclusion to process for the constitution, how the constitution should be, what the powers should be for federal states, or what should be the mode of constitution. They could not decide. That's why nationwide protests are going on. So the name of the country is Nepal. So the answer for this question is Nepal. Let us look at the next question. China is aggressively pushing for 21st century MSR. MSR is Maritime Silk Route. China is aggressively pushing for trade relationships with adjoining countries for seamless trade. One is through sea route, the other one is through land route. Right? This sea route is known as Maritime Silk Route, and to connect interiors of Africa. So it is developing railway line between Nairobi and Mombasa. Nairobi and Mombasa. Nairobi and Mombasa, these are the places in Kenya. Right? So China is aggressively pushing for maritime silk as well as land route, and these two routes probably China wants to have its influence over the region in the future. Right? Look at the next one. Shia Militia seized the Presidential Palace of Mansur Hadi in. Shia Militia recently seized the Presidential Palace of Mansur Hadi in Sana'a. Sana'a is the capital of Yemen. Yemen is in problems, and the militia, Houthi militia, you can say Houthi rebels, recently stormed the Presidential Palace in Sana'a. Sana'a is in Yemen, and ultimately the president resigned. Right? Look at the next question. Which of the following country recorded no polio case for the past 6 months? World Health Organization is very happy to declare this. Nigeria is the country which has not recorded any polio case for the past 6 months. The border country for Guinea, that is Mali, was recorded no Ebola case for the past 42 days. So World Health Organization clearly told these two things. One is Mali is Ebola free for the past 42 days, and now Nigeria no polio case is reported for the past 6 months. Remember, world's highest polio cases are in our neighboring country Pakistan. The second highest are in Afghanistan. First highest Pakistan, second highest Afghanistan, probably because no vaccination at several places due to terrorist organizations' activities in both Pakistan and Afghanistan. The worst affected are girl child. Right? The world's largest polio cases are in Pakistan. Please remember. Look at the last question of this lecture. Who among the following is not the participant of World Economic Forum? World Economic Forum, every year its deliberations are being held at Davos, beautiful place in Switzerland. Business leaders, government heads go and give their lectures, deliberate with big wigs of business and industry at Davos. And from India, Mr. Arun Jaitley, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, these 4 persons attended. So the answer is none for this question. So with this, we will wind up this question and answer session. Please be with us for the second question and answer series. So thank you for watching this video. Thanks a lot. Right? Have a nice day. Right?